Welcome to HCAM series, all about getting to know the fascinating people who have dedicated themselves to make Hopkinton the place that it is today. We'll learn about their jobs and projects they are working on, but more importantly, we'll learn about who they are, their hobbies and interests, and why they do what they do. I'm Sidhi Dhanda, and this is Out on the Town. Today I'm here with Hopkinton's new Director of DPW, Kerry Reed. Congratulations on your new position.
Thank you.
So I know you've served on the conservation committee in town for a while, and now you're the new director. How'd you end up in Hopkinton?
I'm a resident. I ended up in Hopkinton. We moved here about 11 years ago. We came for the convenience to the roads and the good school system and a lot of the amenities we have. And I've been in public works now for almost about the same amount of time. So I was hoping for an opportunity to work for my own town. And when the former DPW director left, I just jumped at the opportunity. So that's how I ended up here.
How did you get involved with public works?
That is a long story. So I've always had a passion for public service since a kid. I think my parents must have instilled that in me. I was in the military. I worked in consulting for a little while, and I just didn't find it to be as satisfying as I thought it would be. I missed that connection to the community. I missed just dealing with different things, not focusing on profitability, like really focusing on the mission, which is something that we did in the military. And I looked at the projects I like to work on and the people I like to work with, and it was all in the public service. And in the military, we're at the federal level, big picture. And I liked being at the small municipal level because you could really connect with people. You can really see the impact that your projects do. And that's when I was able to transition from consulting into public sector. I worked for the city of Framingham and then more recently the city of Worcester before here. And I did some volunteer service, and I just really like that impact, doing work that you can see the results.
What did young Kerry think she would be doing for a living? How'd you end up? Did you always think you'd go into public works before or no?
No, actually. So when I was little, I thought I was going to be a famous author. I wanted to be the next Judy Blume, which when I talk to kids now, I'm like the next J.K. Rowling or something like that. And they all laughed at me. And it wasn't until, I shouldn't say it wasn't, but I thought I was going to be an author. And then in 7th grade, I had a great science teacher. We had earth sciences. So up till then, we were learning about magnets and science and space. And I didn't think I liked science because I didn't like any of those things. And then I took the earth science class, and I really liked it, and it came easy to me. And I had a great mentor. Again, this is 7th grade, who encouraged me to go to this environmental camp that was being sponsored by our local utility, where I grew up. And I went and we toured wastewater treatment plants and water treatment plants, landfills, incinerators, all this stuff that I'd been driving past and never knew what they were. And it really started getting my mind thinking about going into environmental fields, and totally switched from writing and English and that kind to science. But even all throughout high school, when I went to school, I thought I wanted to do environmental science. I didn't think of myself as an engineer. I thought engineers are people that really like math and like to build things and all that stuff, and that wasn't me. And even throughout school, I thought I'm going to be a scientist. And then when I was at school, so I went to West Point. Everybody has to take an engineering course. And the difference between the engineering major and the environmental science major was 2 classes, either engineering classes, which I was doing pretty well in, or like 2 computer science classes, which I did not like. So I kind of fell into engineering. And even in the military, at first, I didn't think of myself as an engineer because we all have that stereotype of what an engineer is supposed to be. And being in the military as an Army engineer, we started taking a lot of pride in ourselves. We built it up and all the neat things we did. And I realized engineering is just a fancy way to say that you're a problem solver. So that's kind of how I ended up being an engineer. And now I'm proud of it, and I really kind of define myself as it. But when I was young, I would have never pictured myself in this realm of work. And it probably wasn't, except for those amazing 7th to 8th grade science teachers I had that set me on this path.
That's pretty cool. I like that engineering is a fancy word for problem solving. That's funny.
Yeah.
How did you end up at West Point, though? That's like such a cool path. English to environmental science to West Point.
I ended up at West Point. I grew up in New Jersey, wasn't very far away from West Point. West Point is a tourist attraction. So when I was a young girl, my grandfather wanted to go there for Father's Day. It's a great place to have a picnic. In June, we went, and I kind of fell in love with it. It's a beautiful place. I just really enjoyed being there, but it was a totally different perspective. And I was talking with my cousin at the time, who doesn't even remember this conversation, but we were about the same age, and we always thought we'd go to school together. And she goes, I think we should go here. I said, why do you want to go here? She goes, oh, it's free. I was like, that sounds like a great idea. So ever since that conversation, it sparked the idea in me, and then I started visiting it, and I kind of just fell in love with the place. She absolutely doesn't remember the conversation. She's like in theater work now, completely opposite, but that is what kind of started it. And since I was close there, we used to visit and go to the football games and learn more about it. And even going all the way up to there, I fell in love with West Point first, and then I fell in love with the Army second. I still wasn't quite sure what I was getting myself into, but I'm really glad that I had that experience.
So did you and your cousin end up attending West Point together, or just you?
No, my cousin never did. No, just me.
So you mentioned your family growing up in New Jersey. What was your family like growing up?
Good point. So I'm the youngest, and now my mom, my sister are up here in Massachusetts, so I followed them here, really. My sister went to law school here, but just like any other family, we're all quite different. My sister's a lawyer. We were the first ones in our family to finish school, and we both went to graduate school.
Oh, wow.
My brother was a police officer, but I think my parents really instilled in me, both in their own ways, the importance of community and helping others. And my mother is always like, more hands help out, whatever the right expression is, but she was always like the last one noticing like it helps cleaning up. I remember she was always helping clean up. She's like, this is a task that nobody likes to do. So, if I can help and lend a hand, I'll do that. And I think part of that is watching that growing up, her involvement in like the parent-teacher organization or the church or stuff like that is kind of how I ingrained that it's important to do.
Is that why you decided to serve on the Conservation Commission, rather?
That's part of the reason. For sure. I'm a habitual volunteer. I'm always the first one to raise my hand. Again, I think I get that from my mom. But when we moved to town, one way is I wanted to learn more about the town, and I wanted to use my background and my strengths. So I had been working in environmental fields. Conservation seemed to work well with that. And I worked for a company that really encouraged us to participate in local boards and organizations, more so because I think it was good for marketing. But it taught us a lot about the rules and regulations. And I reached out at the time, I believe it was the assistant town manager, and said, where's their need? Where are the openings? I honestly didn't know exactly what I was getting myself into, and submitted my resume, had to show up before the select board at the time. And I've been on it since. And Conservation Commission here is fantastic. It's a really great group of people. They do great work. They really understand the regulations and balance it with the town's priorities and desires for protecting the resources, protecting green space, wetlands. The chair, Jeff Barnes, who's been there the whole time, he's an amazing chair, and we've got great staff. So it was a really great experience. That's why I stayed on for so long. I do miss them, but I'm glad that I'm still able to work with them in a different capacity now.
That's pretty cool. So you just submitted your resume to the assistant town manager?
Yes, I believe that's who it was at the time.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I know like a lot of people in town, I think, want to get involved, but like sometimes they don't know like the steps to take to do that. But it's like interesting to hear you can just like reach out to someone and you can end up somewhere.
I think there's roles for everybody. So, and town hall, they're a great resource. Yeah. And you just say, this is my background or this is my interest, and they'll make great recommendations, whether it's, working at the library, we have senior center, conservation, green committee. There's quite a wide variety. Veterans celebration committee, I think it is. One of the wonderful things about Hopkinton is how engaged the citizens are. It's one of the great benefits of this job, and one of the probably the more challenging parts of this job, but I think it's awesome.
What are you looking forward to in your new role? In
this new role, I'm looking forward to working with this team. as a resident, I always thought our public works did a great job. It's a really great group of people here. I'm thankful that we have this new facility. They keep telling me it's not as new as I think, but just supporting the folks that are here so they can keep up the great work that they do is what I'm looking forward to the most. And then the other thing I'm looking forward to, and kind of farther here, is engaging with community and helping them become more aware of what we do and how public works touches their lives every day and the services that we offer, so they can understand why we're asking them to do certain things or why we need money for projects. I always joke around, but like police and fire, they're so visible, everybody understands what that is. So when you go to town meeting and you're asking for funding, people get that, but when you're asking for a sewer project or a water project, most people don't understand that. I couldn't expect them to. So I'm looking forward to helping people understand all these things that we do, making them more relatable, less scary. Like some of the regulatory stuff, it's pretty scary and people are really concerned. So I'm hoping to do that. And I also have a real passion for youth education. So I'm hoping to do some programming there too. Not only does it help next generation understand what we're doing, but we need more people in this field. And you don't learn about it in school. So letting folks know that this is a great career path and hopefully getting more folks interested in engineering or public works is a passion of mine too.
I think that's really interesting, especially connected to your story where you talked about you attended a camp at your own DPW program. That's how you first saw the visibility of the programs and what all these giant machines do. That's really interesting. So what do you see as the future of the DPW, kind of connected to that idea?
The future of the DPW, that's a big question. See, I knew, and you wait for that one for last. I am hoping the future of the DPW is to continue to provide the level of service that we've been providing and meet the expectations of the community. I hope that we are evolving as the community is growing, and it's grown a lot. So we're doing a lot more than they've ever had to do before, and it's often more with less. So hoping to, support folks and just continue to provide what they need. There's a big focus right now on safe drinking water. So a lot of people are concerned. The regulations are coming through. We have new regulations we have to comply with. People are really worried, and I understand that. But also as an environmental professional, I'm kind of we got a plan. It's okay. Don't worry. But that's been the number one thing that the people of Hopkinton, town meeting, town manager have expressed me in this role. Everything else is working pretty well, but we need to figure out what we're doing with drinking water, whether that's we're working on a new filtration system so that we can provide cleaner drinking water from our sources now. And we're also looking to connect with the Massachusetts Water Resource Authority so that we have a reliable drinking water source. They have a lot more resources, a lot more water supply. So we're hoping to do that. So I've been tagged as, make that your priority and then work on the rest of the stuff at the same time too.
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of different projects going on, and you mentioned earlier you have a lot of citizens in town who are engaged, so it sounds like your job can be stressful at times. So what's something you like to do, for fun, to relax when you're at home? What's your way? How do you relax?
How do I relax? If it's particularly stressful, I kind of like to be by myself. I get a good book, kind of sit on my back deck and just take a little break. But I also I have 2 young boys. I love going out watching them play sports. So I knew all these facilities, and I get, even though I guess it could be stressful screaming on the sidelines, but it's also really enjoyable. So in my downtime, I'm usually found on the side of the football field or at an ice skating rink because my one son plays football and the other plays hockey. And I like to play myself. I play on the women's softball team here. So
oh, do you really?
I do, yes. I play on the Navy team. So if anybody's going out to see that, so that's exciting. I like, so connecting with friends, getting that break. So kind of a balance of your own quiet solitude. I like hiking. We have a lot of great green spaces. Kayaking. I like to go out Lake Maspinock with my husband. Don't do it enough, but
sounds like a lot of fun. Well, Kerry, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me and be on the show. We appreciate that all you do for Hopkinton, and good luck in your new job.
Awesome. Thank you, Sidhi.
Thanks.